Sonic State here at Superbooth 2021. I'm here with Thomas from Vermona. And something really exciting and something I'm personally really excited to see is the new DRM DRM1
Yeah, exactly.
Mark IV. Now I've got the Mark III and I love it. I think it's amazing. It's one of my favorite things I've ever had. Now, Mark IV. Now, immediately it looks more or less the same. What is the big differences then?
The big difference, first of all, hello to everyone. Hello, guys. It is nice to meet you. It is nice to see Sonic State again here, and it's great that we have Superbooth 21.
It is.
So now let's talk about the DRM1.
Good, I like that.
Okay, so as you said, from the outside, it's basically the same unit. The housing is completely the same. Everything which is new is inside the machine.
Right.
The first thing is that the power supply is completely new. It's your version. You have the MK3. It has a power supply that needs to be set to 150 volts or 230 volts.
Right.
Now we have a switching power supply which works from 100 to 240
so you can use
volts.
it globally.
Great for everyone who travels.
Touring. For the touring musicians,
Yeah, so we now have also USB MIDI. We have MIDI in that has like on the MK3 version, and now we have also MIDI out.
Ooh. What's in the MIDI out?
Yeah, it can. It doesn't, or MIDI out doesn't work if you do not have the trigger inputs. But with the optional trigger inputs, you can use the DRM1 to generate MIDI information from the gate signals. So you could use it as a converter. The gate inputs are still available as an option. And on the MK4, the trigger inputs can generate a dynamic trigger information.
Hang on.
So
with the Mark III, the only way that you could have got dynamic information was through MIDI.
Exactly.
So with the gates, they were just literally on and off. So dynamic gates.
Yeah. So if you can with changing the voltage of the gate signals, you can generate the dynamic inside the DRM1.
Very interesting. Okay, so that now opens it up into a much more expressive drum machine. If you want to use those,
if you want to use it in an analog way, it's with MIDI it's still the same like on the MK3, which already had the dynamic via MIDI.
Okay, so voices then, are the voices different at all from the
names are still the same, and the function is also still the same.
Yeah, and all of the
knobs are the same. The parameters are mostly the same.
Yep. I'm just looking for any that I can see that are different.
Yeah, there is a small. So let's start with the clap channel, because here we have some different parameter.
Oh yeah.
Noise color. Yeah, noise color is new.
Yeah.
It's an you can change the. Sven, this is Sven, by the way.
Hello.
Is it a white noise and
white noise and a kind of pink noise.
And a pink noise.
You can fade in between the two different shapes of noise.
Okay.
Exactly. So do you have the sound? Yeah. Also the clap parameter, it still is
sort of
called
the
clap.
amount of
but now,
difference.
Yeah, but on the MK3, you had a pattern of claps.
Yes.
And you spread it
out, yeah.
And now, on the first half, you can change the number of the claps.
Single shot.
So now it increases the number of the claps, and it also spreads it.
Right.
So that increases the flexibility of the channel a little bit more. So it's basically still a clap channel, but you have a little bit more possibilities, more different claps.
Nice. More different people clapping along.
Yes.
So the reverb's quite interesting because it's not a reverb as such, is it?
No.
It's more of a kind of a reverb effect by the decay, is it?
Basically it's the noise generator, which which
Ah.
makes a kind of a noise
Decay,
decay
yeah.
at the end of the signal. That's the same with the snare channel.
You're right, yeah.
But that's funny. Some people, we had inquiries for making a reverb on the base of that, but it's not possible because it's only noise. That's the trick. So, sorry for don't having more magic inside that.
No, it's good. No, I think it works really well because when you, this is the way I use it. I really actually enjoy how performable these things are.
Yeah.
And in a way, performability is something that is a very key aspect of the DRM-1. There are no presets, there are no memories.
Yeah.
And there are no modulations. As you have to.
You are the
modulate. You are
modulator.
the modulator. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, which is great. So we've gone through the clap channel, and so what other changes are there in the sounds? Then?
So, in the sounds or in, you mean So
Yeah.
let's go further to the hi-hat channel. So
And these two are both identical, aren't they?
they
Like
are
the drums?
identical. Yeah. We had also some small improvements on the hi-hat channels. The tone generators that generates the tonal amount are now more stable.
Ah, okay.
On the MK3, the higher the note was or the frequency, the volume decreased. So now it is stable
Oh yeah.
over the whole range. And it's also a little bit higher and a little bit lower than the MK3. So you could make some nice triangle sounds with it. It can still be triggered open and closed.
Yeah. So that's a key thing. You don't when you see hi-hat 1 and 2, it's not an open hat and a closed hat. You could set it up that way, but it wouldn't choke
But
necessarily.
they won't kill each other out.
Yeah.
So on the but each hi-hat channel can be triggered as open or as the closed version.
on two MIDI notes.
Yeah, and that's also a different. Now maybe we can demonstrate that. Can we? Yeah, we can inside the machine. So now it's the closed hi-hat, and it's an effect that was on the MK3 a little bit, but also the closed hi-hat can be can have different decay times
from the open.
and it's it's related to the decay on the open hi-hat. So that's now open, and that's the closed version. for that.
Neat.
If I have a longer open hi-hat,
Yeah.
I also
So you're pressing and holding it to trigger. Gotcha.
then you can try out the different open and closed.
Oh, that's neat.
And that's the longer closed hi-hat for that. Yeah, that's the tonal amount, and you can mix it with
And the noise source.
with the noise part
Yeah.
of it. That's the same like on the MK3. Yeah, the snare channel is absolutely the same than on the MK3.
Great.
There's absolute nothing new about it.
It's a beautiful snare. It didn't need to change.
But we can press on that knob to demonstrate it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a little bit weak. Yeah, you have that same reverb
Noise in there.
resonance. It's a filter that is pushed by a little impulse. That's the impulse. It's the attack. That's the filter. It goes deep, but I think on the MK3 it goes a little bit deeper than on the MK4. So the frequencies are a little bit adjusted.
Adjustment.
The noise part and the decay of the noise. So you can have all kind of snares that you like. Also, the multi-channel is the same than on the MK3. You have
This is the 3 oscillators.
3 oscillators. It's low.
Yeah.
Having some kind of cowbells or laser. The drum channels. The drum channels have the same functionality than on the MK3 version.
Yep.
But also here we increased or we adjusted the internal parameters a little bit. The main difference is that drum 1 is tuned lower than drum 2.
Oh, right.
So they are not exactly the same.
Because they were the same on the Mark III,
Yeah, they
weren't
were exactly the same, but now you have a kind of high tom and low tom. And that's also true for the frequency, for the modulator, for the frequency modulation. So that's the higher, drum 2, that's the lowest part of the higher drum channel. It's still low.
It still gets low, yeah.
But if I compare it to the first one, oh, yeah.
Goes even, yeah, down.
It's not much, it's about a fifth or something like that. That's the maximum pitch of the drum 2. So that's
nice.
different. Also, the modulator is higher now, and that's also higher on the second drum channel than on the first. Which is what also is new, that the modulation oscillators is synchronized with the trigger impulse. That was not on the MK3. The main oscillator was synchronized or was resetted with the gate signal, but not the FM.
The FM. Oh, yeah.
So now it's always the same sound. On the MK3 you had sometimes a little entry point for the...
Yeah, depending on where it is in the cycle. Okay, so that's resetting on each trigger. That's cool.
And and the kick channel is the channel that is more or less completely new.
Oh.
It has the same basic circuitry that works in the background, but the pitch range is not so great than on the MK3.
Yeah, it goes up really high, doesn't it?
Yeah, it was maybe for a kick it could be too high, and you have now a little bit a more optimized range so that you can
just keep it a little bit more in the well, you still got quite a high.
Yeah, it still is, but it was higher on the MK3, and now also bend works better in the higher settings. That was on the MK3. If you had pitch on the maximum, bend didn't work at all. Now it works.
Oh yeah, come on. So nice.
The wave parameter is also completely overworked. The sine wave is more sine than on the MK3.
Okay.
So that's it sounds a little bit deeper and more with more. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But the rectangle is not too much rectangle.
Right.
So
it's keeping more sort of fundamental in there when you increase that.
We also the ATEC is new, or it works a little bit different than on the MK3.
Okay.
In the far left settings, you have a kind of small ATEC phase, so it's not super sharp. You have some kind of ATEC, and when increasing ATEC, the ATEC time decreases. It gets shorter. And on the MK3, you just added a small pulse,
like a little needle,
and that starts with about by the half of the wave.
Okay. Right, interesting. So it gives you a bit more. It gives you a bit more sort of tonal, because, before it was just amounts of that.
Yeah. And now it's softer on the start. And
how interesting. So you probably can get a bit more 808 with it, maybe. That's quite interesting. One of the things I tried to do with the Mark III was I tried to make an 808, and I couldn't get it. It sounded like an 808.
It was not made for sounding like an 808.
But that made me love it more, though, because it was like, this is, there's 808s everywhere now, isn't there? So, it's such a unique sounding drum machine. I've never heard anything that sounds like it. Now, what I'm liking about this Mark IV is it still sounds like the Vermona
Yeah,
DRM1.
yeah.
So these kind of adjustments, although very cool, is kind of in keeping with this being the fourth version. So tell me now, when did the Mark I come out?
Oh, the Mark One. The Mark I was a cooperation with MAM. Do you know the brand MAM from Germany? They made the TP303. I think it was the name. The 303 clone. No,
Right.
what was the sound? I don't know.
So go back into the 90s.
Yes,
are we?
it was mid of the 90s.
Okay.
And later when we had the name Vermona,
Right. Ah, of course.
then we started with making the MK2 version under our own name.
And that looked the same as more or less.
The MAM version was also in silver,
Mm-hmm.
and it still was the same principle. So it had
Mm-hmm.
the same amount of knobs.
8 analog synths.
Yeah, it has, yeah. And then when we made the first Vermona version, we were not sure about the color. So there was a blue version, later there was a silver version again, and I think it was 2000 or 2001 when we made the MK2 version, and about 2006 when we made the MK3 version.
Okay, so that's had quite a long. The MK3's had a long life,
Yeah,
then, really.
yeah.
So, when do you think we'll see the MK5 then?
I don't think,
15 years time from now.
yeah, I don't think that it will be before 2030. So
Okay.
you know,
So
we
it's-
need some time to.
Yeah, fair play.
No, we think it is good to have a product that is, that lives that long.
Yeah.
Or there was no need to make a completely overhaul of the unit because the MK3 is still a great drum synthesizer.
love
And
mine.
if you like the kick drum, maybe there is no need for running to the next shop and buying the MK4 version.
Yeah.
So.
But I mean, I can imagine the difference, especially with these kind of dynamic gates. If you know, we should mention really though that the gates are an optional extra. You either buy it as the MIDI version or the MIDI and gate version,
Exactly, yeah.
like the Mark III. But the dynamic gate certainly opens it up into new territory. I was mentioning just before we started filming that the drummer in my band has got a V-drum kit, and we mapped it recently, the Mark III, and that was really, really cool. Going through a brain, Roland MIDI brain, taking MIDI out, driving it all from MIDI. It'd be really amazing to drive that through just direct triggers. For the fastest, most...
The trigger inputs are designed for working with trumpets directly, so you don't have to go the way through the MIDI.
Yeah.
But it's not entirely included in this version right now.
Okay.
You can update the firmware via USB.
Ah, yes, so USB is, as you mentioned, that's another new feature of it.
So we have the possibility to, we have to test it with some different kind of pads.
Okay.
And then maybe we then will open the feature for everyone. So
okay, interesting.
it's still in testing phase.
Okay, great. But the Mark IV now is available to buy now. It's in.
It is available, but unfortunately with a long delivery time.
Yeah, with a shortage of.
Which the problem that all the manufacturers here have at the moment.
And the price?
The price, what is the price
Has
for
the price
DRM1?
stayed the same as the...
It's about 20 or 30 bucks more than the MK3, but it's still in the same price range.
Okay.
So.
But you're getting a bunch of new things, especially the connectivity there, and USB MIDI is pretty handy on this as well. Yeah. Thomas, thank you ever so much for showing us this, and best of luck with things.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you.
Bye-bye.